Hi everyone, my name is Peng, and I'll be presenting ongoing work done in collaboration with Arunesh Mathur and Arvind Narayanan. In recent years, as large-scale datasets play a key role in advancing research in computer vision and machine learning more broadly, they have also been the subject of significant criticism. A whole host of ethical concerns have been raised. Researchers, journalists, and activists have noted privacy violations in the dataset collection process, representational harms caused by offensive annotations, biases in datasets that may be inherited by downstream applications, as well as the use of these datasets for ethically dubious applications like surveillance. Consequently, many influential datasets have been either modified or retracted by their creators. ImageNet, Tiny Images, MSLab1M, and Duke MTMC to name a few. The research community has responded to these concerns, working to incentivize responsible dataset creation, proposing tools and frameworks to aid dataset creators. In our work, we argue that a broader view is needed to effectively mitigate the negative impacts of datasets. By analyzing the life cycles of three popular datasets, Duke MTMC, MSLab1M, and labeled faces in the wild, we show how threats can emerge years after a dataset is created and released. So while much proactive and preventative work can be done at the time of dataset creation, continual efforts must be made to manage and govern how a dataset is used, in a process that may be called dataset stewarding. So what did we do? We took these three datasets, MSLab1M, Duke MTMC, and LFW, and in total manually examined nearly 1,000 papers, from which we identified those that either use these datasets or the derivative datasets in pre-trained models. From this, we can provide an account of a dataset's broader impact across many years. Here, I will summarize four key findings. First, we found that after each dataset was released, the data became available in a decentralized manner. Copies of the original, derivative datasets, and pre-trained models were made available in many locations. Notably, even while Duke MTMC and MSLab1M were taken down in June 2019 following ethical concerns, the underlying data remains accessible in multiple locations. Moreover, we found that hundreds of papers published in 2020 use such data, mostly via derivatives that remain available. Broadly speaking, as data proliferates, dataset creators lack control. One way in which dataset creators can maintain control over data is through licenses. Still, we found that original terms of service may not be inherited by derivatives, raising questions about their effectiveness. For example, we identified copies, derivatives, and pre-trained models of MSLab1M that are available with no mention of restrictions to non-commercial research use, as is specified by the original license. To our knowledge, the original license is no longer publicly available, presenting challenges. We also found many models pre-trained on the popular ImageNet database that are available through commercial licenses, despite ImageNet being available only for non-commercial research use. Whether or not the availability of these pre-trained models violates the terms of service is not entirely clear from a legal perspective. Regardless, we see how both specificity and enforcement are needed for licenses to be an effective way to prevent negative impact. As I mentioned before, each of the datasets we examined spawned numerous derivatives. These derivatives are often popular in their own right and repurpose the data, potentially raising new ethical concerns. To take one example, multiple derivatives of LFW labeled the original face images with attributes including race, gender, and attractiveness. These labels enable new applications that may be ethically problematic, including the classification and retrieval of people via sensitive attributes. The availability of pre-trained models also opens up the possibility of use in production systems, for which the original data was not intended, and for which the potential of direct harm is greater. For example, models pre-trained on MSLab1M, some of which are available under commercial licenses, can be used for out-of-the-box face recognition or to generate low-dimensional representations of faces for other tasks. Even a dataset on its own may be understood differently over time as context changes. This may have consequences for the dataset's ethics. For example, when LFW was first released, it was described as having wide variability among its images, it being one of the first face recognition datasets using images in an unconstrained setting. In 2019, the creators added a disclaimer to the website, noting how a lack of variability in the dataset meant that it should not be used to conclude that an algorithm is suitable for any commercial purpose. We found four commercial face recognition systems that use their performance on LFW to advertise accuracy. Throughout machine learning, we see similar examples where the eventual impact of a dataset differs significantly from its initial impact. Together, our findings show how mitigating negative impacts of a dataset must occur throughout a dataset's lifecycle. On one hand, our results show the importance of taking proactive and preventative measures. Carefully crafting terms of service and implementing strong data management strategies reduces risk. Indeed, as we saw, failing to do either can make subsequent governance much more challenging. But on the other hand, we saw how active approaches, such as managing derivative creation and enforcing licenses, are also needed to address threats as they emerge. Some threats may only arise many years after a dataset is created. We suggest that the broad task of dataset stewarding is best accomplished not through the dataset creator alone, but through a distributed approach spanning multiple actors. There are several reasons for this. At different stages of a dataset's lifecycle, different actors are better equipped to govern. Moreover, though datasets have unique central control over a dataset, they lack both ethics expertise and the means to effectively manage the hundreds or thousands of times a dataset may be used. A distributed approach is both more effective and reduces the burden on dataset creators, at a time when dataset creation continues to be undervalued. In our work, we make specific recommendations to 6 stakeholders: dataset creators, dataset users, institutional review boards, conference program committees, other researchers, and policymakers. Let me outline a few examples, illustrating the distributed approach in the context of enforcing terms of service. First, dataset creators should make terms of service that are as specific as possible, so that users clearly understand what is and is not allowed, while also opening up the door for robust enforcement. While legal enforcement of terms of service is only possible by the creator, we suggest that softer forms of regulation be implemented through conference program committees. Ethics reviews can require researchers using a dataset to verify that they have upheld terms of service and considered any other documentation provided about the dataset. Policymakers can work to make data use in production systems more transparent, making enforcement in the setting more feasible. More details about our work can be found in the current draft of our paper, which is accessible through the link shown here, tinyurl.com/rcv-dataset-ethics. You may also email me with any questions at kennypeng@princeton.edu. Thank you.